Everyone can come to the live results page and get everything they need in one place. You can see your scores, you can see your boys draw updates, your girls draw updates. Everything is in one place. And then you can scroll from left to right using those buttons. This gets pushed into here automatically. You could watch the stream live. This is last year's live stream, and you can see it got posted instantly. Now let's look at some of the technical stuff. The website has evolved. I call it the ABG Portal. The ABG Portal is built like an app without actually needing an app. It can market and manage your business. It can market and manage your sports team, or it can market and manage any event like a wedding or a tournament. In this video, I show you a tutorial for how to build your own online tournament hosting system. It comes with a web app that can be used to update the website without actually needing any technical experience. It's built entirely with WordPress, one premium plugin, and everything else is free. All right, first things first, let's go over an example of my product called the ABG Portal Tournament Manager. And then later in this video, I'm going to show you how to make it yourself. So this is last year's version. It's just a website that I built so that the tournament hosters could market and manage their entire tournament through an online system. So your normal website would just display the information of the tournament. So, I've added that it's under construction, but I usually like to, introduce the teams, introduce, the gate, introduce who our sponsors are, and link to all of the important information like the draw. You can watch the stream, you can check out the rules. But the most important part here is this live results web app that I've basically built so that the tournament hosters can update the scores. So I'll click this from a simple web app without actually logging into a website. So you can see here, this is all of last year's results. It was a very simple web app where you just can see each of the scores in a nice little scroll bar. And on your mobile device, this is perfect because you can just see the scores and you can scroll to the left and right, see all of the scores. There's boys and girls in this tournament. And I will quickly show you where that web app sits. I actually have a hidden page under update, and I put this behind a password. And here's a simple web form made with Gravity Forms, sorry. And I'll be showing you this entire process. This is a very basic one. So, I just selected, do you want to update the boys score or the girls score so that it's organized? You pick the winner. So I just entered all the teams as the form. So it's really easy to drop down. Now I don't have a game time here. So this is going to be an update I'm going to be making in this new version, and I'll be showing you all of that. And then you can enter the score. So, girls score update, Campbell beat Bethlehem 120-66. You could add some comments there underneath the game, maybe who was the high score, good luck in the next game, whatever. It just gives the tournament hoster a way to update the website without needing a whole bunch of technical experience. So this form can be customized, and it will be customized, and I'll explain what my new ones are going to look like shortly. But let's just submit this. And then it says the score has been posted online. ABG, my friends. And now if we go back to the live results, that score I just entered is automatically pushed into the website. So how I use this is I have the update behind a password. The tournament hosters can all share this password, and then right from their mobile device, they can open up the score update and it'll automatically push to the website. Now, here's what I'm about to build for you. And then if you're interested, you can stick around and follow the entire build. I want to add more information here. I want to be able to add the game time. And I also want to be able to add a way to update the draw for future games. This was some feedback I got from last year. Is people loved being able to see the scores. They did not like being able to or being unsure on the draw and when next games were. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to have this nice little scroll bar for the scores. And then lower on the page, I'm going to have a boys draw scroll bar and then a girls draw scroll bar so that teams and visitors can come here and not only see the score results, but see when their upcoming games are. In addition to this, I'm also going to have a message bar at the top that will allow the websites, or sorry, the tournament hosters to just kind of give a general update. So for example, if the games are running behind schedule, there's got to be a nice little way right at the top here to display a message saying good luck to all the teams. And again, it's a very simple system that uses WordPress and the built-in blog system to do this. So here we are in WordPress, and I'm going to be showing you, let me move my mouse over to the right screen. I'm going to be showing you why I use Gravity Forms first. So Gravity Forms is a premium plugin. I own a one-person digital marketing agency, so I use them for a variety of different reasons. Under the Gravity Forms, if I go to add-ons, you're going to see why it's wise to consider investing in a strong form. So here you've got your Stripe add-on. So this is for taking payments if you want to do a credit card or run your own store. It also has Square that has all of your marketing add-ons that just kind of integrate really easily with any sort of marketing, your PayPal checkout, your HubSpot. I might have actually passed it. Here's a nice one I have used for the signature add-on if you want to build a form where someone signs a waiver. Webhooks are great for integrating to third party. Zapier is great for business automation. There it is, advanced post creation. This is what I use to push my scores or my draw update or any update into my website. It's just through the blog system that really WordPress was created for. So this is really has a wide range of use cases. If you want to build a system that has a simple web app that can update the website, you can do it through this advanced post creation and the blog system built into WordPress. Okay, so I've got this already installed, and I will go back to my Gravity Forms. And this is that simple score update form that I was using. So I can go ahead and edit this. It's very intuitive, so you can add your fields. So I mentioned earlier that one of the updates that I want to be able to make is that I want to be able to add a time. So two options, you could use this drop down box, and then you could change this to game time. And in your choices, you could type each game with the time. For example, 10 a.m. and then game 2 might be at 11:30 a.m. And then the tournament hosters just have to select what game time it is. So if you have a set schedule and you know exactly when each game is, this is a preferred method, really easy to do. And then it'll also be pushed into that score update so people can see when the game was, not just the result of the game. And I'm going to be doing something very similar for the draw update as well. Now, if you didn't like that method or you want to give a little bit more customizing, there will be a form for the time. Then again, instead, you could use a specific time and call this game time. And now the person can just enter that time custom like that. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and save this and quickly show you how my other one was set up. When you go back to Gravity Forms, it shows you your score update form. I'm going to be creating 4 of these. One for the score, one for the boys draw update, one's for the girls draw update, and one for the general update. And by doing this, I can push each of these to different places on the website. I can display things in a scroll bar or a grid, and I'll show you how to do all of it. But if you go here to settings, at the bottom is post creation. And this is where you can set a post creation feed. I'll quickly edit this so you can see it's creating just a post on my blog. I'm selecting the information to display a specific way. So whoever won defeats the loser and then their score. And then I could add in the game time here or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave you there for now, and I am going to build all 4 of my forms. I will come back to you when the forms are built, and then I will show you how to create each of these feeds. And the reason why you want to do one form for each feed is because at the bottom, you can set each form to a different category. And then when you go and display the information, you can sort it based on each category that's selected. And then that way you're going to be able to display the score results in one place, the girls draw in another place, the boys draw in another place. And again, this is very customizable for each specific use case. If you're managing a different event, if you're marketing a different event, and you want to just add a little bit of utility so that the people can update the website themselves. Okay, see you soon. Okay, we are back, and I've set up my 4 gravity forms. They're not perfect, but I do this in stages. So the first thing I do is I set up rough forms, and then I need to link everything kind of together. So the order of which you do this doesn't really matter. First thing, I'm just going to go in and show you these 4 forms. The main reason, again, for why I'm creating a separate form for each update is because I have added that post creation add-on. So again, I use gravity forms, and up off to the side here, you've got your forms and you've got your add-ons. And one of the main add-ons that I use is the post creation. So this is useful for anyone who wants to build their own blogs as well. I just use it for the tournament updating aspect. So each of these forms now has a post creation that I can fill out, and I will show you how to fill that out in a little bit. Okay. Now, before we move forward, I am going to need to do a couple of things. I'm going to have to set up where these actually get pushed, and I'm going to show you how to do that roughly. And then we need to add categories. So I want to be able to push each post creation into a different category. And then that way I can display the categories in a different place on my page. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my pages. I'm going to go to my live results page, edit that. And I'm going to show you how I made this scroll situation going on here. Okay, there's a couple of blocks that I use. The main one here, you can see up here is advanced query loop. So I'm just going to ignore this and basically let's go after, add something after. So in order to start, you're going to add the advanced query loop. This is a plugin. The standard WordPress will have a query loop. The advanced query loop is better because it allows me to sort based on my category. So I'm going to pick my advanced query loop. Now, depending on your theme, they have built-in templates here for blogs. Some themes have a whole bunch of cool templates, and you actually have a pretty good start point. I always like to start blank. It doesn't really matter what you pick here because you're going to be adjusting it. So I start with the simplest one, just title and excerpt. And now you can see it's already starting to populate the data from my blogs. So each score is really a blog, but I hide my blog page and I only display parts of it. So now within my query loop, you can see that there's a post template, and then it has some other stuff that I'm just going to get rid of because I don't want people to see that. Delete that. So this is now where you set up your post template. This is how you style what each of them are going to look like. But the advanced post creation from Gravity Forms actually allows me to style them as well. So I don't need to do much here. I usually want to have a title. And I'm going to get rid of the excerpt, and I'm going to change it to content, because add after. We're going to just put my content here. So this is now you're going to see in real time, it's going to populate now the content that came from that advanced, that post creation on my Gravity forms. Okay, so this is now a post template, just very simple. It's your title and then your content below. On the post template, you see you can have a list view or a grid view. So you could grid things up like that. The problem here is if you put this to mobile, you're going to be scrolling forever. Now, that's not the end of the world. If you go to your post template, for example, and maybe shrink this block spacing down, things will kind of shrink down a little bit, but it's not ideal. I want to be able to push this into the scroll bar. Okay, so I'm going to go back and leave this in list. So it just lists all my blogs. I can also go here to my advanced query loop off to the side here, and I can say that I want a custom query type. And now down here, filters, there it is, filters. I can now add a taxonomy, and I can filter it based on the categories I've created. I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to create 4 categories eventually, one for each type, so that I can create a query loop and put it on different spots on my page or any page by simply just using the advanced query loop and the category filter. Okay, you can also control how many you want to display, and I'll show you more about this later. So for now, I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to go back to my post template. We're going to leave it as a list view, and above it, I'm going to show you how to add this scroll bar. So this is another reason why I use GreenShift. It's got animations and all sorts of cool built-in features. I'm going to add a box container. This box container is extremely versatile. So let's just say we want it like wide width for now. And now I'm going to actually put this query loop inside of that box container. Come on, baby. Is it in there? Check my box container. Cool. So there it is. Now, in my box container, off to the side, it has built-in features like Smart Scroll. So I'm just going to select Smart Scroll. And then I want to say that this is actually a query block wrapper so that it knows, oh, this is just going to be coming from the blog system. And notice how it's starting to already stack them for me. And then I want to select that I want to add a carousel. And now I'm set up. I can scroll like this. I can sort it per category. I can decide that it maybe only want to show 10 or 20 posts at a time. And then there's all sorts of little customizing that you can do below if you want to change the min width, the max width. So as you start to drag this, you can see it changes. So these are the smaller things I do later. You can change a gap between each, and you can even just change it to auto width type, and it'll basically just push the content in automatically. This is what I end with. So I'm not going to show you that yet. I just wanted to show you how I created this same little scroll bar up here. I'm going to get rid of both of these because I'm going to be building fresh ones shortly. Okay, so we'll save that. Next thing we're going to do is go to my posts section. So this is where it has all of these scores. This was last year's data. So I am going to go in and delete all of this stuff later. It's really easy to do. You can just select all and delete. But what you can also do here is go to your categories section, and they were all uncategorized. So now I want to add my categories. So let's just say, I remember I had a score update, and we'll maybe call this score update. Parent category none. And now it's added this score update. I'm going to go ahead and add another one, which we will call a general update. So this is so that the tournament hosters can post a simple message at the top. I'll show you how all this works. But I need to have these categories set up before I go into my post creation on Gravity Forms. And then I'm splitting it up for the boys and girls. So I will say boys draw and girls draw. Now, depending on how you want to set this up, you can categorize them really in a detailed manner. We don't need to do that for this. We just want the categories for now. So remember on that query loop, I could have filtered based on each category. So I want to be able to push, I'll go back to my forms. I want to be able to push each of these forms into that particular category so I can control how it's displayed and where it's displayed. So let's do that now, but let's look at these quickly first. So let's just edit the boys draw. So what I've done is added just a simple drop down. Again, it's intuitive. There's a drop down, and underneath it, I've labeled one home team, and I've added the teams under choices so that it's really easy for the tournament hosters to select. Then they're not typing in, and it's going to display in a uniform way. And I copied that and just changed the name to visiting team. So now they can select who the home team is, who the visiting team is, and they can quickly select the game time. So under the game time choices, I'm still waiting for the tournament hosters to give me specific game times so I can come in here and update this. But early, you want to be able to link everything together, test it, push it into the query loop, see how everything looks. And then it's just kind of a system of going back and forth, tweaking things, adding styles, making it look better. I just want to show you kind of the technical skills here. So this will get changed once I know those times, but this is now a really simple form that someone can load up. Again, I put it on an update page. They can select who the home team is, who the visiting team is, and pre-select one of these games. And when they push submit, a post creation will get made. It'll get posted to the website automatically. And I could look at them all. So my general update is just a simple paragraph. Whatever's typed here gets pushed. I could look at the girls update, or the girls draw is the exact same as the boys draw. There are a few different teams, so I entered different teams. And then the score update, I created a form to enter both scores. So one of the options is boys score or girls score, and I can display this, and then I can show who won, who lost, the winning score, the losing score, and the game time. And I can control how this is styled and pushed once I set up the post creation. So let's do that really quickly for one of the simple ones. Let's just do the boys draw update. Under settings, there's a couple things here that you can control, like a confirmation. So I'm going to edit this confirmation. I don't want to say thanks for contacting us. I want to say something like, the website has been updated. Always be grinding, my friends. And then maybe say refresh the page to make another update. And I'm going to save that. And then another thing you could do is notifications. If you want to receive a notification, I don't, because I just want this to work without finding out about when something was posted. But again, if this is a contact form or a purchase form or something like this, you would configure these differently. You can control what happens to the data that's entered. Do you want it to delete automatically? Do you want it to keep it? I just retain it so that this stuff just gets posted into my posts section, and then you can go and sort and edit or delete. Sometimes they make a repeat entry and you have to go in and delete that or whatever. And here's the post creation. So let's make a real easy one. It says there, you don't have any feeds. Let's create one. It does not matter what you call this. It really doesn't. So, let's just call it boys draw feed. We want it to be public automatically. So I want it to post right when they submit this form without being approved or anything like that, so that it updates the website instantly, but you could customize this for sure. And here's where you can control the title. So I have the ability to use a universal title. So I could say, draw update. I could say boys draw update. Or I could populate from the actual form with this little short code, and it's going to allow me to choose what my title is. I'm not going to do that for this one, but for the score, I am, because I can change the score title to be boys score update or girls score update. So you've got some control here. I will say again, let's double check. This is the boys draw update. So let's call this boys draw update. Here is where you can customize what is going to be pushed and how it's going to be pushed there. You can change colors, you can change styles. It's not the greatest, but it gives you more than enough utility to be able to customize things. Like I want it centered. And then here's where you can use these little short codes to push things in. So this is just the boys draw update. So I'm going to have a real simple message early, and then you can come back and customize this. So again, I would want to display the home team. And then I will say on a new line, I want this to be as vertical as possible so that when I scroll, I can squeeze as many as possible. So you could make this wider, but I'm not going to. And then I'm going to add another. So it'll display as whichever team is selected versus whichever team is selected. And I could also now push in the game time that's selected. Okay, so this is a simple little way to just create this post template that's going to get pushed. Then if you scroll down a little bit, you see right here my categories. I want to assign a category, and I want to assign the boys draw. Okay, so now when this particular form is used and submit is pushed, it is going to now create a post category for the boys draw, and it's going to push this to my blog, which is hidden. It's just being pushed to the website, and then I can display it in any way that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm not going to show you how I do these other ones. Okay, I'll just show you when it's all said and done. But I'm going to go in and do the very same thing here for the post creation. I'm going to have a similar confirmation notification for each of them. And the most important part there is that you're setting it to the category. So Boys Draw is now set up. I have to get this form on one of my pages. Now remember, I have an update page that I eventually put behind a password, but I do not have that yet. So let's go to my update page. I deleted this form, so it's gone. And what I do early in the process, which is right now, is just put placeholders. So I eventually want to put a nice little navigation so that on the update page, there's 4 buttons to update. So I'll just simply say add 4 buttons to navigate each form. So this just makes it act like a web app on the phone, but I'll do that later. And below this, I will add a stack just because it's easier to style your stacks. Let's just center everything, and let's say wide width is good enough. And now I just like to have a simple title. So let's use a heading block, and we'll call this one what I just made. So boys draw update. You could add a nice little image if you want also. So maybe I'll add after a simple little logo that we have. Yeah, let's go with that one. And I don't want it to be that big. So we'll do a little thumbnail. Okay, so this is going to look like, again, I'm always visualizing how this is going to look on a phone. I want it to say boys draw. I want to have a nice little logo, and then I want to have the form right below it. So to add your gravity form, you can just start to type form, and you see the gravity form thing pop up, and I can select one of my forms. So I've set up the boys draw update, so I'll select that. I do not want the form title or the form description to show up because I just want it to be simple. And now you can see what it's going to kind of look like. They're quickly going to be able to select the two and submit like so. So I'm going to save that. And we can go ahead and preview it. And now I can just make a couple of posts. So let's say Walter Murray is going to play Holy Cross in game 1, and I'm going to press submit. The website has been updated. Refresh the page to make another update. Okay. So I'm going to refresh. I'm going to add PA St. Mary versus Leboldis. This will be game 2. I'll press submit. I'll just do one more, but you get the idea. Let's go MJ Central versus STJ as game 3. Now I press submit. Okay. Now these are being added as posts right now. So if I go back over here and I click my posts, I have these new posts that were created, boys draw update, and here were the old ones that are still in there. And eventually I'm going to go and delete them all. But while I'm building, I like to keep them in there so that I can preview things. Okay. Now's when I would go and build that query loop where I want to see it. So on live results, we're going to edit. We're going to do that step I already showed you. This time I know I want to put it in a box container, so I'll start with a box container. Let's go full width because we can add a little bit of padding if we want. And then let's go advanced query loop, start blank, title and excerpt. Again, on the left, you can figure out what's nested. Let's get rid of stuff we don't want. I want to get rid of the excerpt part on the post template. And I want to change it to the content. So you can see it's just populating all the titles for now. I want to add after. We're going to go content. And now it'll automatically push those values that I entered in there. Okay, so if you were doing this for a simple little tournament, maybe again, I want it spaced a little bit better. I would come here and I would change my block spacing to something smaller. In the customizing, I can change the background, and eventually I'll make nice little slick cards. I could even add an image. So if you want an image to show up on each little post, you could do that. So let's do that. And I haven't even decided what I want the whole thing to look like yet. But on the post template, so again, I'm modifying the post template and then it populates automatically. So let's go here and let's add that same little nice STJ logo. Let's change this to center. And let's make sure it's not the size of the world. Okay. And then here again, you could control, do I want it to just be a grid or not? I'm going to keep it as list. I want my title to be centered though. And now I'm just going to save good habits. And now I'm going to make sure that I go back to my box container and I select those things that I want to start setting up a smart scroll. It's not going to look the way you want yet. It's still stacked. You're going to say, I want you to know that this is a query loop, and it'll instantly start to stack them like that. And then I want to add a carousel. And then you can play around again with the sizing and stuff like that. For the most part, auto works pretty good. And then you can decide again, do you want it centered? How do you want them to start? I probably want it to start at the flex start and then show people that they can scroll. Your preview here isn't going to always look the way that it's supposed to. If I view the page, I want to go over what I did again because the order does not matter. Which you do these things. You could set up this query loop first, then add the gravity forms, then do the post creation. You're going to have to add those categories somewhere. And that's one thing I didn't do. So remember, if this is going to be boys draw, I would want to like label that. So above the box container, I would want to say, boys draw updates. And then below it, I'm going to have the boys draws updates. You see they're showing the girls scores as well. The reason for that is because on my advanced query loop, it's set for default. I want to set it to custom and I want to filter it. Now I've added categories, so I can go here and I can start to type and it should pop up what they are. So I want to filter it from my boys draw, and now you can see it's only showing those 3 posts. And as I enter more updates that are boys draw updates, it'll be pushed to this query loop, and then you could scroll left or right for just the boys updates. And basically I recreate this process for each one. So how I envision this on my page, I'm going to have that general update at the top. I'm going to style it so that, there's a quick way to say a message from the tournament hosts. Then I'm going to have the score query loop on a scroll bar so you can see all of your scores, boys and girls. And then below that, I'm going to have the boys draw updates and the girls draw updates. And just like on my update page, I probably want to up here say something like add buttons for navigation so that the user, this time the user is not the tournament hoster, it's a family member, a coach, a player, an athlete who's following along with the tournament. They will be able to quickly see on their phone, what do you want to see, scores, draw updates, and it'll jump to that page. Okay, so I am just going to quickly check to see if it's actually updated my page or not yet. Let's see. And it has, in fact, done that. Again, the beautiful thing here with the block themes is this is perfect for all screen types. So when you're on a mobile device, you're going to see your 3 scores like this, and you're going to be able to scroll each way. And you'll have all of your boys draw updates in one place. And again, you can style them however you want. You can add color, you can make it styled, and I will do that when it's all said and done. But I'm going to do all of that stuff while I'm not recording because I've already showed you all of the main skills. And I want you to think outside the box. Yes, this is for a tournament, but this could be for any person who just wants to be able to update their website a little bit. It could be a blog. Then you could build a little web app. Someone can write their own blogs and it'll post. It could just be for someone who wants to run their business off of their website. So maybe they have select hours, they're open, they're closed. They could then update the website to say we are currently closed, we are open. I think of all these little food trucks. So maybe a food truck has a specific type of food that they're offering on certain days. So you could build a little form for them to quickly say, today we are serving soft ice cream and desserts. And you could have an image and stuff like that. And again, this just happens automatically so that the business owner or the person who's managing or marketing the event or their business doesn't have to log into WordPress and do all of this stuff. I can basically set up the forms based on how you want to use it. You can set up the post creation to push to a different category. You can set up the categories, and then you can go to each page that you want it to display on. It could be them all, it could be some of them, and you would go ahead and enter those as query loops, an advanced query loop that sits inside of one of these box containers. And then you could even animate these things. And next thing you know, you've built a very slick web app that updates a website, all from WordPress, which is disgustingly cheap. It's free if you pay for hosting. So I use Hostinger on like a shared hosting account, and I can build tons of these off the same hosting price. Okay, so I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to get to work because this tournament is happening in a couple weeks, and I actually want to build it. I want to make it look good, and that's going to take a whole bunch of back and forth. I'm going to be adding content, I'm going to be styling it, I'm going to be playing around with, these settings off to the side for my query loops and for my box container so that, I can space it the way that I want. I can make sure that they're displaying nicely, and then I can test it on my phone, I can test it on a computer and go back and forth. Okay, so I will do that. This is probably going to take me a couple days to get this all built, and then I will show you the end result. Not just the end result of how the web app will work, but the actual end result for the entire tournament page, because there's still a whole bunch of information that's useful for visitors. So I've got, our new logo for the year. I've got my navigation so that people can find all of the information. I'm going to have a downloadable draw. I'm going to have the opening round matchups. I've got to add all of our sponsors down here. So I've got a whole bunch of work to do here, but I've shown you all the technical skills required. I will show you the end result. And if you have any questions about any of this, be sure to comment, reach out to me. Again, I own a one-person digital marketing agency. I do all of my builds off of this same setup. And the query loop thing is just for the tournament hosting so that I can build the app. I don't always use it, but the gravity forms are powerful for any sort of business automation. And I already showed you that earlier in my video, because under the forms, you've got all of these powerful add-ons, whether they're marketing add-ons, whether they're payment add-ons, signature add-ons, you name it. And there's even additional paid ones to build your own workflows and to do all sorts of things. Okay, I will see you soon with the finished result. We are back. It has been a couple days here, and I'm really happy with how things turned out. So this is going to be the final look of what I call the ABG Portal Tournament Manager. It's one of my products that I sell to local tournament hosting sports teams or venues. And it just, again, offers a way to showcase your entire tournament, market, manage, all from one system. Let's take a look. So this is the main page. Obviously, the links are all set up and working. I'm showcasing the dates. All of these links work. You can check the live results, the live stream, the tournament draw. And I will go through each page individually to show you, and then come back and show you some of the technical stuff behind the scenes. So, it just shows all your important information. I've got these little navigation systems added so that it jumps you to different places on the page or on the website. I showcase our sponsors. And again, you might be saying, well, why did you make it vertical? Because everyone's going to be on their phone. No one's going to be following along at home on a PC. People are going to be out and about. The teams, the players, the coaches, the fans, they're always going to have their phone. So this looks really good on a mobile device. And then I just need to add in the digital program once it's built, and that's easy to do later. So then let's just go ahead and take a look at the draw page. I showcased that we have 16 teams, 8 boys and 8 girls, and I jump navigate on each page if you want to just quickly get to the information. So if you click the first round, it'll just jump to the boys. If you click the girls, it'll jump to the girls. Again, this is built with mobile first in perspective. So yes, this looks like a large image with scrolling on a PC, but on your phone, it's like the perfect size to see the entire draw. I looked up the resolution that most phones will fit, and so this is mobile first. And then at the bottom, you can download the entire bracket really easily and see, when the winners and losers play. And then I showcase the boys teams, showcase the girls teams. Here's where the magic happens with the live results. This first general update is completely customizable from this web app that I'll show you at the end. If games are falling behind schedule or something like that, you can come here and make a quick general update so that everyone sees this first. We're 15 minutes behind, or we're just tabulating who's going to the final. You can shout out your sponsors. You can do whatever. It's really easy. And it'll overwrite the message that's currently here. Then I got another little navigation where you can see the scores, the boys draw updates, and the girls draw updates. And again, it'll just jump to that place on the page, but I will scroll. Look at how slick this looks. So for the score updates, it just pushes them automatically into this nice little scroll bar. On a computer, it stacks them more than just obviously 2 at a time, but on a mobile device, you'll see it'll put 2 at a time. So then I've got the boys draw updates. Again, this gets pushed into here automatically. Then the girls draw updates. And then I'm just, linking to watching live. Everyone can come to the live results page and get everything they need in one place. You can see your scores, you can see your boys draw updates, your girls draw updates. Everything is in one place. Okay. You could watch the stream live. This is last year's live stream. I'll push that link in for this year's. And then there's the rules page. Okay, so for the most part, it's just displaying information that's nice to display, but the majority of the work happens here on this live results. So let me show you the app that I built again. Remember earlier in this video, I built all those forms. So if you go to update, it's hidden. And again, I will put this behind a password. You can choose which score update. And again, on a mobile device, this looks slick and it'll quickly jump you to exactly that. So you want to update the girls, you push that and it jumps you right down to the girls draw update. So I've got all 4 of my forms pushed into this one place. All you have to do is fill out one of these forms, select the winning team, the losing team, the winning score, the losing score, select what day it happened and the time, and it automatically pushes into that website that I showed you in the live results. And then the boys draw update is a simpler form. I've built in each of these game times. And I did the same thing for the girls. I built in different game times because they're staggered. The boys and the girls are staggered. And then here's my little general update. So, all I could say is whatever I want. All games are on time. Good luck, STJ, because that's our home school. I could submit this. And then I could go right to the live results. And you can see it got posted instantly. So this is just a simple little way where I can share the web app with the tournament hosters. They can fill out the scores, the draw updates, and it'll automatically get pushed into the website in this nice little already pre-organized template. Now let's look at some of the technical stuff that I needed to do behind the scenes. And I did show you earlier, but let's show you the final pass. Let me just load this up for you. So here's WordPress. The beauty about WordPress, again, is that you can just log into it from anywhere. So I can do this from a work computer. I can do this from home. I can do this on the road. So it's really easy to update and build. So let's go over the live results page first. I put them in box containers. The box container is what allows me to select the smart scroll. Inside of the box container, I have advanced query loops. And each query loop is set to show only the category selected. So my first one was where I showed scores. The next one was where I showed the boys draw. And the next one was where I showed the girls draw. So you could limit how many of these you want to show. So maybe you wanted to do 5 scores in each row and have multiple scroll bars. You can really customize it here. The top one right here, I did not put it in a box container because I only want to display one. So if you look at the general update, I'm only displaying one per page. If I do show 2, you'll actually be able to see both of those posts. But I want the message to overwrite the previous message. I don't want it to show a stack or a scroll bar. So that's why in this case, I just put 1. So the newest update that someone puts automatically gets pushed into there. So it's kind of a creative way to just use the built-in blog system from WordPress, and I'm customizing it for this tournament hosting system. Okay, so that's the live updates page with the query loops. Let's go in and take a look at, yeah, we'll do the update page again. So this is, I guess I'll quickly show you how I did jump to a different place on the page. So under the links, you use the number sign and it'll look for that anchor on the page called score update. So what I did is each image right at that section, if you scroll down on WordPress, oh, my face is probably covering it. Under advanced, there I can scroll. I added an HTML anchor called score update. And then up here, I link to score update. And that's what allows me to jump to a different place on the page. So that I have that built in everywhere on this website to jump around. And then you could just link to each page if you want as well. And all I'm doing is just pushing in each specific form using the gravity form block. Now the gravity forms do cost money, but I've explained it over and over again why I'm fine doing that because of all of the built-in add-ons. And the most important that I use for this build, let's go into my gravity forms, is the post creation. So each of my forms now have nice post creation set up. I've added a new feed and I showed you how to do that earlier in the video. And it just pushes in again the form information in an easy structured format. And then this gets pushed into that query loop, which gets pushed into that box container, which I can now set to a scroll bar for total customization. Okay, so I'm super happy with this build. This is by far my best tournament hosting system. Very early, I was limited with what I was able to do. And then as I learned new skills, like using the advanced query loops, I was able to add more and more features. And this is something that I'm always revisiting. I'm always trying to make it better. But I'm really happy with this general system for hosting any tournament. You can use the live results page customized for that particular tournament. You're able to separate the scores and the draws. You're able to see any important information. So not everybody has a stream, so this would just be removed. Not every tournament wants to display the rules. But these 3 sections really work hand in hand. The ABG portal, my homepage, just to display all the important information. You could actually showcase your teams on this page if you wanted. I chose to do it on my draw page, but it just allows you to display everything you need, market and manage your entire tournament, and then the tournament hosters don't even need to be logging into the website. They can just log into that little web app and update the website like that. If you like content like this, you guys, follow, because I'm going to be showing you how to build several things. Earlier on, I showed you some HTML, some CSS. I showed you some tricks that I use for image editing, I'm incorporating AI with everything and anything. And one of my videos coming up, I'm going to show you how to use the WooCommerce plugin for WordPress so that if you want to kind of build your own online store, you can do that as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. And as usual, always be grinding, my friends.